Hello, Facha. You're looking lively, and Facha probably meets the age limit for the new schools. I think she's the only one present who...
What is work?
It's work. Work is work.
Just work?
Work. Oh. Work out, as in work out. Rot out, rot, work. That's a very funny... See what you have wrought. See what you have worked out, wrought.
I said, all this, I've read.
Yeah, okay.
And they were insightful.
Just simply work. It just doesn't seem, I don't know, difficult enough.
No, it's Middle English.
Yes, Middle English, right. That's right. All right, gentlemen and ladies, shall we? In this stage, now that we're dealing with the light in the head, in this stage the soul light penetrates into the region of the pineal gland. Notice the region of. It's not yet there, okay? Let's just say the region of. And there it produces an irradiation of the ethers of the head. Okay. I think, maybe I'm wondering if this is the day to pull out that, I think this may be the day to pull out the compilation on the eyes. A little bit of it. I'll give it to you, but we'll just discuss it. Probably do. Probably do. An irradiation of the ethers of the head or the vital airs. And probably that particular vital air is called Upana. What do we have? Samana, Upana, all of that. How does it go? Let's take a look at that. See if we find it. Upana. Yes. We have, yes. It's found between the nose and the top of the head. It has a special relation to the brain, the nose and the eyes, and when properly controlled produces the coordination of the vital airs and their correct handling, and I think it's this. This is Upana. This is the mudra for Upana. You have to link with the thumb.
That's the third finger?
First finger up, yes? Yes? Brenda? I know I'm far away, but... yeah. This is... I think this is prana. This is prana, I think. And let's see. Tuya knows these. I have this somewhere. I don't want to go looking for it. There's one that is where you bring all of these together. Samana. This is digestive, I think. Yeah. Like this is samana. This is prana. I forget what apana is, but upana is definitely this. And there's another one that's that. And I think that's the summary of them all. Vayana. See, it's a little harder to make these stand up. Make these last two stand up. Yeah.
And why are we making this effort?
Well, these will activate. When activate your upana, you do this. Yeah.
So how many vital layers?
There are five vital layers. Five vital layers. Page, Truth and White Magic, page 569.
Michael, is it the significance that this finger has something to do with a part of the brain?
Probably there's some connection. I don't know. It would have to be the 3 and the 1, yes. This is interesting. This is considered the Jupiter finger, and it rules the dome of the skull. It also is a first-ray indicator, and it's also a directional indicator. Jupiter has some first-ray in it. Look, there's so many different systems of palmistry. But, I could, if I went to, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. You know how it is. I must say no to certain tangential...
Just say no.
Just say no. Okay. Okay. So there it produces an irradiation of the ethers of the head of the vital airs. This produces a stimulation of the atoms of the brain so that their light, that's the dark light, is fused and blended with the other two. So, in other words, dark light with the etheric light and the soul light blended. and there is produced that inner radiant sun of which the aspirant becomes conscious in his physical brain experience. Frequently students speak of a diffused light or glow. This is the light of the physical plane atoms. This is the rush light of Anu, of which the brain is composed. Later they speak of seeing what appears to be a sun in the head. This is the contacting of the etheric light plus the physical atomic light, and later still they become aware of an intensely bright electric light. This is the soul light plus the etheric and atomic light. 3 phases of the light of the head, from sort of a nebular phase to a sun phase to an intense, maybe blue-white light. When that is seen, they frequently become aware of a dark center within the radiant sun, and this is, as it's been said, the opening, the way through. This is the path. This is, let's just say, the cave experience. Some call it this, and it's the chamber of initiation.
An exit, the soul leaving the body.
The exit of the soul leaving the body and so forth. So, and it's oftentimes said to be indigo. And so when Master DK gives you the radiant sun, he said, okay, you're on the path with all your fellow meditators, and you move as one on a shortening shaft of golden light into the indigo center of the sun. Whence we disappear, and we stand in the presence then of the consciousness of our Master, in this case, Master DK. He offers his presence there. At least he did to one of his earlier groups. So that's a synthetic point, since indigo is a synthetic color. It's the opening of the path, right? So I imagine that it's a fair amount of visualization that can be done on that, and that presences can be sensed in that position. I think if we meditate within that cave or within that indigo vault, a lot more contact of the kind we're trying to cultivate arises, and we include that in our full moon meditations. So there is a whole sense of going through most of the meditation as if in the cave, blending with the consciousness of the Master. He actually tells us to do that. He tells us to merge with his consciousness. And maybe that'll take a little while to do, but he encourages that. This is the entrance of the path disclosed by the shining of the light upon the door. And the door, in this case, I think is the door of initiation. Different initiations are involved. The shining of the light. In other words, the light in the head shines upon the door. L-I-H. What's that? L-I-H? No, it is here. That's an L, please. L-I-H. Shines upon the door. So again, all we can do is experiment with this until DK gives us specific instructions about how to use it. Many of us know how to use it. There are ways to use it, and we have to work out our own ways too. All right, students must remember that it is possible to have reached a high stage of spiritual consciousness without seeing any brain radiance. This is for the consolation of the light deprived.
Also, you could have attained certain things like that in a previous lifetime.
Sure.
And now you've come back with a higher quality of brain, but you don't go through that same experience.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. He says it's in the nature of phenomena is largely determined by the caliber of the physical body. I mean, sometimes you're given a physical body of a certain caliber, which is maybe less than your internal consciousness, and you have to work with that. It's redeeming certain energy by past karma and achievement, and by the ability of the aspirant to bring down power from on high. So there's kind of a first round implication, and to hold that energy steady in the brain center, whilst he himself in meditation is detached from the form aspect and can look serenely on it. Actually, here's a clue about how to induce this. Clue about induction. So if we are determined to bring down power from on high, given our present karma and reasonable, improving caliber of physical body. He did say to quite a high disciple in his group, you have a Semitic Hungarian body of a not especially high quality, something like that. I guess that's a fair assessment. It's not meant to encourage you particularly, but this disciple had trouble with that body. The binging and purging, as I understand it, a lot of that.
But I find that curious because we store our prior achievement in the permanent
Physical permanent atom,
and any others, and this is from this, these.
What about karmic induction?
You're saying that we would come back with lesser in order to work through that karma.
You oftentimes have a handicap which you have to work through.
As a general rule, we're
You start where you
our
left
way
off.
up.
Etherically.
Right.
Etheric start where you left off.
Well, mental and astral as well.
Well, yes. But he says pretty much you get the etheric body that you had at the age of 21. In other words, like this, when you are 21, you have the etheric body you had when you left life in the last incarnation. So if you can remember back a few years to when you were 21, what kind of etheric body did you have? Probably that did not influence whether you had one or not.
I never heard of that word either.
Yes, but okay. I'm remembering, and I feel different from what I have now. It would seem that there would be an accentuation on other centers than are now accented. But that's what he says. By the age of 21, you have re-achieved your etheric condition that you left in the last life. So hopefully it's a better etheric condition now. And then of course, cell by cell or atom by atom, the physical body is built upon the etheric body. But the Lords of Karma have a lot to say about the nature of that physical body and what type of limitations it presents and what type of redemption it invites you to engage in.
Also the 3 seeds of the future that he talks about.
3 seeds.
One of them is concerned with the theory.
Okay. Well, we're born in all the different races. Think about that. Think about what the kind of racial forms and traditions and heredity that may just be there as part of the substance of the race in which you are born, regardless of your inner condition. I mean, think about someone like, let's say, Martin Luther King. He's definitely a high soul and probably has had a whole lot of experience in other races, but here he is there to uplift everything. And I'm wondering if some high souls are born in the Aboriginal group occasionally. And that certainly would be subject to certain limitations and conditioning. Anyway, we'll know more about the technicalities when we can make a science of all this, right, Fatsha? She's just an eager student. We figured out that she's the only one who meets the age requirement of the new schools.
One thought about African races, decay and problems with humanity, I think says that they are a highly occult race, and that when their time comes, which is in the not too distant future,
6th sub-race, maybe? 6th root race.
They will make, even before, he's talking in the next 200 years.
Oh, really?
So now we're talking even shorter than that they will make faster progress because of their innate intuitive.
The intuitive is definitely, and also he says, the lack of karma. Do you realize what this means, my brothers? They're not all tied up in karma. Certain of the groups, he says there's a lot of child souls in the African group, but on the other hand, lately things have changed. I've noticed a whole lot of third ray coming in. I find, in addition to what you would expect, the 2, 4, 6 line and 7. 2, 4, 6 and 7 very strong, but third ray lately.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. When this has been accomplished, and it is not an objective to be worked for, but simply an indication to be registered, i.e. the light in the head, right, in the consciousness, and then dismissed, registered, not to get fixated on it. Obviously, we can look for any point that indicates we have made progress, and we can fixate on it and thereby retard the very progress that it indicates. The consequent stimulation produces a reaction in the physical body. The magnetic power of the light in the head and the radiant force of the soul produce stimulation. This is important. Now, of course, the light in the head in a way can be there without being visually registered. The centers begin to vibrate, and their vibration awakens the atoms of the material body until eventually the powers of the vibrating etheric body have swung even the lowest center into line with the highest. So body first and then the centers. So we have the etheric body, let's see, etheric body vibration first, and then the centers in the etheric body swung into line. Centers in. Centers in. Thus, the fires of the body, the sum total of the energy of the atoms, are swept into increasing activity until such a time as there is a rising up the spine of fiery energy. This is brought about by the magnetic control of the soul, by now no longer just on the top of the head, but seated on the throne between the eyebrows. It's as if the soul makes its way to the center of the head and then out through the brow. So anyway, we're dealing here with the consummation in which the light in the head is involved. Okay, here enters the work of one of the means of yoga, abstraction or withdrawal. So that's pratyahara, one of the means of yoga called abstraction or withdrawal, where the three lights, now he's going to tell us what it means to be thrown upward, where the three lights are blended. What are the three lights? The dark light, the etheric light, light of soul, where the centers are aroused and the atoms are also vibrating. It becomes possible for the man to center all three lights in the head at will. And this is the important technical piece on the meaning of the lower light is thrown upward. Then, by an act of the will and knowledge of certain words of power, he can enter into samadhi and be withdrawn from his body, carrying the light with him. The lower light is thrown upward. Okay, I'll put that in according to. Okay. In this way, the greater light, the three fused and blended, illuminates the three worlds of man and man's endeavor, and the light is thrown upward and illuminates all spheres of man's conscious and unconscious experience, meaning the lower vehicles, which are usually unconscious. Okay. This is spoken of in the occult writings of the Masters the following way. Then the bull of God carries the light in its forehead, and his eye transmits the radiance. The bull of God is a stage of evolution. We reach that stage when the jewel in the lotus is opening, and when the inner eye is opening, which transmits through the forehead.
Is it related to Taurus?
Absolutely. It's a Taurus phase. And so oftentimes what you do is you look what people go through at a certain stage of their evolution, and you say, with what signs or planets does this correlate? This is the Taurus phase. The fourth initiation is correlated with Taurus very much, and its ruler Vulcan. After all, it lets in Shambhala, the destructive power of Shambhala. It's correlated with the opening of the jewel in the lotus completely, right? So that becomes radiant, and then the third eye is as radiant as it can be, and out of the forehead, which is in a way ruled by the fourth ray, comes all of this radiance from the center of the head. His head, with magnetic force, resembles a blazing sun, and from the lotus of the head, the path of light issues. Now, that's vertical. There is a path of light vertical, and also the possibility of those going out from the unicorn horn and from the ajna center. So we have like 3 paths of light: vertical, unicorn, and ajna. It enters into the greater being, i.e. into the soul, is thrown upward, producing a living fire. So there's soul abstraction involved here. The bull of God sees the solar angel and knows that angel to be the light wherein he walks. Well, usually this is initiatory, because when do you see the solar angel? Usually as at an initiation, and DK explains even the place that the solar angel takes in the initiatory ceremony. He has that in the raised initiations. What triangle he stands in or between whom, and whether Christ takes the place of the solar angel and so forth. So the solar angel is involved in the initiatory ceremony. Okay, so this is what the old commentary says. In this way, the greater light... now I wonder, we also have to remember this. Remember the base, the spine center, solar plexus, the heart, and the highest center, the head. Sorry. So it is. He just said this a little earlier, that the 3 lower centers rise and are brought to the head center. But now we're also talking about the light of the soul within the personality, the etheric light and the dark light, all as it were leaving the personality and rising up towards the greater observer, the soul itself. In this way, the greater light, the 3 fused and blended, illuminates the 3 worlds of man's endeavor, and the light is thrown upward and illuminates the higher spheres, the spheres of man's conscious and unconscious experience. And then we've read this, and especially this section about the bull of God sees, it enters into the greater being, it enters into the soul. In other words, it leaves the lower personality, it enters into the greater being, this triple light. The lower light is thrown upward, the greater light illuminates the 3. The bull of God is in the presence of the solar angel, in the presence of the solar angel. Then the work of the 4 proceedeth. The 4 are at one. The solar angel is identified with its instrument. The life of the sheaths is subordinated to the life of inner divinity. The light of the sheaths is fused with the light of the soul. The head, heart, and base of the spine are geometrically aligned, and certain developments then become possible. So head, heart, and base of the spine. Of course, there's a lot of will in that, because those are precisely the 3 centers which characterize political workers. Every seed group has different chakras that it uses. So, depending on what seed group, if you were like a glamour group, you would be head, heart, and solar plexus. Or education would be head, ajna, and throat. Or science would be head, throat, sacral center. Yeah. Interesting, because it has so much to do with matter and so forth. Right. So when we're talking about different lights being carried upward, we're also talking about different chakras, the energy of certain chakras coming, being raised up into the head center, and usually that means death. So I think it's fair to say, isn't it, Robert, that samadhi and death have a lot in common?
Mm-hmm. Well, one, the consciousness threads which are on, and the other, both light and consciousness threads which are on. Right. So, in other words, the head center receives the energy of the lower 3 centers which have been aligned, so this becomes possible. And then the other idea is that 3 lights are lifted, and it looks like real pratyahara. So real pratyahara.
You say it? Yat.
H-A-R-A.
Real Pratyahara, the triple blended light of the dark light, etheric light, and the light of the soul within the personality rises up into the soul being itself. Rises into the soul being. He does say that kind of, he says, it enters into the greater being. It enters into the soul, producing a living fire. The bull of God sees the solar angel. Well, whether it actually leaves the personality there is a path through the top of the head. Maybe that's it. Maybe through the top of the head this occurs. Into the soul being, maybe this occurs through the top of the head. Okay. There's just a little more here and then we can get into the other one. The solar angel begins the work of initiating. Okay, let's collect this is a summary of the two rules. In these two rules, the foundation of the magical work of the soul has been laid down. Let us list for the sake of clarity. Okay, the solar angel begins the work of initiating the personality. So the true magician begins the process. He withdraws his forces from soul enterprise in the spiritual kingdom and centers his attention on the work to be done. Whatever these soul enterprises are, some form of higher telepathy, it tells us somewhere. He enters into deep meditation. Magnetic rapport with the instrument in the three worlds is instituted. This is that mutual meditation. The instrument man responds and also enters into meditation. The work proceeds in ordered stages and with cyclic activity. These are the cyclic impulsions of the solar angel, received by the meditating magician. The light of the soul is thrown downwards. The light of the vital body and the physical form is synchronized with that of the head. He's saying it a little bit differently here. The light of the vital body, which is pretty much the presence of the light of the soul, pretty much the presence of the light of the soul in the head, i.e., with the result of the presence of the light of the soul. In the head. The centers swing into activity. The light of the soul and the other two aspects of light are so intense now that all life in the three worlds is illumined. Alignment is produced. The work of discipleship and of initiation becomes possible and proceeds according to the law of being. I have a feeling that under this it becomes possible for the initiate to enter at will the causal body, which is a higher form of abstraction.
Really does actually possible.
It's possible for the initiate. It becomes possible for the initiate.
Get rid of the
Right. Okay.
Do you think if you suggested that we actually kind of purposefully visualize the lifting of the dark light and the melting of these three lights, and that we go as we get into the creative process, that we visualize this process that he is describing right here.
I suggest that. Yes, I think it's very good to do that, and I think it's possible actually to rise up via the vertical path into the egoic lotus. And this would be causal consciousness. AUSAL. Of course, I think it's also possible to have causal consciousness right here and now, without necessarily rising completely out of the lower mechanism.
Not so casual.
Did you say?
It's not so casual, though.
Oh, casual consciousness. Sorry. That's my hope. Casual consciousness, yes. Hey, I've achieved casual consciousness. Hey. What the hey,
Just catch them.
Good. Okay.
We're good at that.
Are you catching flies or something?
I'm ready to swat him and kill him.
Really?
Oh, we want to
Really bad.
Really?
I didn't want you to see.
I suggest you light up your incense again and send them over to me.
Yeah, they really love this area.
I've been missing a lot of protein, eating too much wheat. Send the flies to.
maybe try to open the window or something to go away, or maybe more we
More will come in. Yep, you name it. This is the way you detect whether you're a pessimist or an optimist. If you open the window, will they fly out or come in?
maybe the fun or anything?
Stabilize.
Well,
Try to try.
you can try it, but if it gets too risky,
It's that marvelous after lunchtime, you know. Compilation? Okay. I'm going to switch here to this compilation on the eye of the soul, because I think it would be valuable to go over it. I tell you what, I want to read this other thing again, please. This is the summary. So let's just brand that on our mind and try to remember this. Were you harmless during lunch?
Yes. Yes. As far as flies are coming.
Lord of the? What is it about flies and the devil? Lord of the flies? What is it?
Before we move to that, I was, if I may, thinking about this bull of God. I know it is present, as far as I remember, in the Buddhist tradition. They describe in Zen the bull that there is in different steps in. And they said, do you know what they're talking about? Anybody knows what they're talking about?
Not really. To me, this is a cyclops. A bull of God is a cyclops. The cyclops is a one-eyed man, and the cyclops is minimally a third-degree initiate. And this is the whole development of the eye apparatus and its transference into the eye of the soul and finally into the eye of the monad, which is the soul itself. I don't know all those other developments.
But what's the bull of God in the sentence means?
The initiate who is of the third degree.
So the third degree initiate.
That's what it means to me, a cyclops. Cyclops is a third degree initiate.
The bullseye.
The bullseye, yeah.
So when you are talking about the bullseye, you're talking about the initiate?
To me, absolutely. Yeah.
Write that in.
Yeah. Oh, would you like that written in? Okay, cyclops, third degree initiate. Okay. Third degree initiate. Right. Like I say, if we want to be illumined beings, we have to pay the price, which is kind of a disengagement from a lot of lunar life, while the energies intensify the possibilities of being radiant. I mean, in the way we live, often we don't get the most out of we don't submit our vehicle to the maximum energy. And apparently, he tells us how to develop the third eye somewhere here. We're going to read that. Of course, some of us are a little old now. No, don't say it ain't so. Say it isn't so. Others of us are not, Anyone here below the age of 50? Okay.
Does that include 50 or just below?
Just below. Well, that's good. So Svetlana and Tara can do it, and Mara just missed the boat.
biological age, their spiritual age, their biological age. What can they do that we can't?
Nothing.
I'll leave this to your intuition.
Which 50, by the way?
Which 50?
Yeah.
The Croning 50. Okay, no, of course not. I'm just.
Not for too long. We're 48, both of us.
Okay, you don't have much chance. But he does say that the soul can work much better and achieve initiation easier with an older body. Not too old, but old enough.
It says after 50, I believe.
Yeah, a lot of distractions are gone. Yeah. So on the other hand, let's look at it this way. Tara, Svetlana, I'm sorry. Ma, you're in. Another couple of years, everything's in order. Okay, let's.
Just one thing about the will of God and the sense. I do remember it has to do with a term process to illumination, to enlightenment.
Yeah.
And when you say that the will of God is the third initiate, kind of has a correlation with that.
Yeah, in the Labors of Hercules, it is that, the Cyclops, and Hercules basically travels to the island of the one-eyed men, which is this island up here. Let's take a look here. The upturned horns of the bull with the circle below, depicting the push of man, the bull of God, the aspirant. It says the highest form of aspirational idealism is found in Taurus. That always surprised me. The highest form of aspirational idealism is found in the Taurian subject. So, it's also possible to be a bull without being a bull of God. You have to at least aspire to be a bull of God, right? Again, the ancient proverb runs, the ram, when it has become the scapegoat, has sought illumination as the bull of God, and has climbed the mountaintop in the semblance of the goat. See, the thing that strikes me is that at the fourth initiation, the jewel in the lotus is completely unveiled. Now that's the higher correspondence to the third eye, and to the fair jewel carried in the forehead. Somehow those two are connected, because when the third eye really opens and is completely powerful, it seems to come out the front. This result comes out the front of the forehead. It's not just the ajna center; it's the radiation of the third eye in the middle of the head. Let's see. This is called the underlying goal of evolutionary process. So sometimes this term bull of God is meant to be aspiring man, or even desiring man. The eye of the cosmic bull of God is open, and from it light pours radiantly forth upon the sons of men. Okay, then the bull of God carries the light in his forehead. So, and then we have to go to the Labors of Hercules and see about this. But it looks like aspirational man is also called the bull of God. But in order to really carry the light in your forehead, you have to have achieved something. And that's going to be the ajna center at the third degree. That's when, because you can see how that works, right? The ajna center, the fifth ray, the third degree, and the so-called illumination. All those ideas go together, and then you are more of a consummated bull of God. Yes, other people, as DK says, you just bull your way forward. You trample on people. You that kind of thing. It's very different from being this kind of bull. Anyone here Taurus? I think not. Right. Okay. Some people have Taurian elements in their chart. Right. Okay. All right. So now let's look at this compilation. No, we didn't read it yet. I got distracted. The solar angel begins the work of initiating the personality. What a way to think of the magician, true magician beginning his work. Okay, so initiating the personality comes from the solar angel. Okay, two. And that's his white magical process, but it has to do, under this influence, we build thought forms. Okay. He withdraws his forces from soul enterprises. He should say more about that. In the spiritual kingdom, meaning it's within the spiritual triad. Okay. So let's say, definitely that much. Say so, in the spiritual trial, and centers his attention on the work to be done, very limiting. He enters into meditation deep. We're not responsible for that. So there's something there. Who is this he? Is this our higher self? We often debate this, or is it this independent being who's really determined to master his personality? Magnetic rapport with the instrument in the three worlds is instituted, so let's just say man is invoked. And then the instrument man responds and also enters into meditation. man is evil, meaning he responds. The work proceeds in ordered stages with cyclic activity. We're told of those streams of energy coming forth from the solar angel with which we have to rhythmically engage. So we have to rhythmically engage with the cyclic streams of energy coming from the ego solar angel. The light of the soul is thrown downwards. Now actually, we're given a different sequence in the rule. The lower light is thrown upward. The greater light illuminates the three. The light of the soul is thrown downwards. The light of the vital body and physical form is synchronized with that of the head. The centers swing into activity and, as you say, alignment, induced by the action of the light in the head. The light of the soul and the two other aspects of light are now so intense that all life in the three worlds is illumined. Do you feel illumined at this moment? Ask me that later when I'm not digesting. Okay. There has been a descent, yes. Alignment is produced, the work of discipleship and of initiation becomes possible with alignment and proceeds according to the why this, law of being. What's happened here? Spirit aspect has entered at the third degree. Okay. I think more and more we realize we are apprentice white magicians during the initiations of the threshold. And we can be a true white magician at the third degree and beyond. It's all learning, I think. I just don't see, he says, until the third eye is a functioning reality, presuming not only seeing but directing, you are not a white magician. So not the real thing. But you can learn, right? So we're learning. Okay. Now, let's go on. It is that time of the afternoon, isn't it? What is it about this time of the afternoon? How can we guard ourselves?
Could we also sing about the weary pilgrim?
Yeah, it's true. We can guide ourselves by singing. That's such a. I wish I had a camera for Lynn's look. That was good. Can we guide ourselves by singing? Cloaking a smile. Well, I don't know. I think we can do the weary part.
We're doing it already.
Yeah. Well, you gotta hang in there. I guess it's pretty intense to be in a full-time school. But there is gardening to keep your mind off of.
Are you going to send that to us so that we can follow it? We have it. It's in the... Oh, you do? I'm looking at it right now. Oh.
There. There you go.
Woohoo! All the other stuff. Let's sing one song. Let's sing an energizing song.
Energizing song. Okay. Yeah, sing your song. The Bull of God. Hey, I have a song about the Bull of God. Yes. Well, it's a little hard to. The melody is. The Bull of God. You have the Bull of God. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I should give in to this conspiracy.
This is a spiritual awakening, Michael.
I feel you're all interested in opening the eye of the bull, right? I suppose it's fitting then somehow. The eye of the bull. Seem uninterested.
You will not hold it against children ambition.
should have Lynn sing a solo, don't you think?
I think that's a great idea next time.
He means, I think, next life.
I could come with different great makeup.
Yeah, you got to come in with that. All right, bull. I need more juice. I would like some of you to stand up. Let's see. You did very well, you know. You did. Shine in the Darkness? Oh, but that's a happy song.
Which one was it?
Oh, didn't you like that nice after-lunch solemnity? Bill liked it. Lynn liked it. I could tell. I suggest a duet between you two guys. I know you're waiting for the beach. You know, that's the trouble. All right, let's do song number 1, Shine in the Darkness.
This is a stand-up song.
This is a stand-up song. Twee is not going to like this. She's going to want to have been here. You know, she's going to want to have been here. You know what that means?
We go serenade her. More into secrecy.
That's right. Just everybody, you know, don't say a thing.
We won't.
Just be careful of those canary feathers hanging from your... What canary? Said the cat. Okay. Light of ages, light of life, shine of the... This is the light of life. Taurus, the light of life. It's the light of earth, it's the light of love, and it's the light of life. This is the highest initiatic form of the light of Taurus. Shine in the darkness. Light of love, subduing strife, shine in the darkness. This is all about making our planet sacred in the great light. So this is the light we pursue. It's just so simple. Radiant light of truth, radiant wisdom, radiant youth, that's Sanat Kumara. Shine in splendor, shine, shine in the darkness. Shine throughout the depths of space, shine upon the human race. I mean, you know, it's a lighted song. It's amazing how animation can return when you do what nobody else wants to. I'm feeling in my element. Just the way it used to be, you know. I'm happy, nobody else is, I'm there. All right. All right, here we go. So let's see if I can... It's great to be evoked. Oh, well. Actually, no, Gerald, he's taking the Buddha approach. He's imagining himself under the Bodhi tree.
I thought you guys were singing to me.
Okay. Here we go.
Let's go, Bull.
Noble indeed. Oh boy.
So what kind of magic did we do here with the throat chakra that we sent out devas, we collected around the platform and then brought it back, and now we have the energy of those devas that surrounded it?
Yeah, something like that. It all sounds good.
Scared off.
Listen, those devas have not been sent out in quite a while. So they're a little rusty, you know. But,
is that on your big rock opera that you did in the white binder? Is it?
No, that's a different rock opera.
Okay.
Yeah. This one's actually got a legitimate CD cover. The big white binder turned out to be a little more economical, you know? Okay.
It's a good sound that comes out of this.
Yeah, it's not bad for $10.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a little speaker for $10. Yeah. Not bad, you know, and there are other better things, of course. Right. Now back to the third eye. Okay.
I'm ready.
Ready now, huh? Well, let's see what we got here. The third eye, not the pineal gland, but its etheric correspondence. Okay? This is the responsive mechanism to the directing eye of the soul. So actually he basically is going to differentiate between the eye of the soul, the third eye, and the pineal gland. This is simply a compilation. The eye of the soul, bringing revelation of the nature of the interior worlds, of the kingdom of God, of the divine plan. So, you know, sometimes he seems to make them the same, and sometimes he distinguishes. There's one very strong paragraph where he absolutely distinguishes the eye of the soul from the third eye. Man is now learning to use the eye of the soul, and as he does so, he brings its correspondence in the head into functioning activity. This produces fusion and identification and brings the pineal gland into action. So, what have I said here? The correspondence in the head is not the pineal gland per se, or is it? You know, there's a possibility that the eye of the soul this eye of Shiva, the eye of the soul, no, that's externalization of the highlight. The eye of the soul may be located in the soul body and have an externalization within the head. So we'll have to be very careful about this because there's a lot of confusion of terminology. The major result, however, is to enable the disciple to become aware, whilst in the physical body, of a new range of contacts and perceptions. This marks a crisis in his unfoldment of as drastic and important a nature as the attaining of physical sight and the use of the physical eye was to the unfoldment of the curious creature which antedated the most primitive animal man.
This is not clairvoyant sight, though. This is spiritual perception.
Yes. Well, I think it will include what we normally call clairvoyant sight. Yes, actual seeing. Yeah. This creature could not see, so we were in the. There was a time before individualization, and with the coming of the individualization, the eye developed. Things unknown can now be sensed, searched for, and finally seen. A new world of being stands apparent, which has always been present though never known before. The life, nature, quality, and the phenomena of the kingdom of souls or of the hierarchy becomes as patent to his vision as the real and as real as is the world of the five physical senses. So looking out into the world of the soul. See, into the world of the soul. Yeah, so there's a question about whether this eye of the soul is itself within the soul body, having a physical correspondence in the head center, or whether it's only in the head center. But we have pretty much here everything we need to try to make that determination. Later man uses the eye of the soul, as we have noted above. It reveals to him a world of subtler phenomena, so it doesn't mean that the usual clairvoyance is excluded. The kingdom of God or the world of souls. Then the light of the intuition pours in, bringing in the power to recognize and rightly interpret and relate. So we might say the eye of the soul has something to do with the accessing of the intuition. Okay, now let's see. He's giving a meditation here. Reflect quietly upon the directive power of the soul working with a symbolic diadem of attainment. Whoa, it would be interesting to find out where this particular jewel is. Maybe we have to go to find that out. Using the impelling eye of the soul as a directing agent.
Totally awesome.
Wow, it's totally awesome.
Right. Well, every once in a while, God speaks. That was good, huh? That was good, right. Totally awesome.
You didn't let that happen? No drama going on?
I'm sorry, it just happened.
Take credit for that?
Remember. someone else. Every once in a while, my computer does say totally awesome. I have to admit
I've come to admire you so much.
but truly, it does. And I haven't figured out why the totally awesome arises. Almost every week, it says totally awesome. Yeah, well, don't get rational on me right now. I like the occult explanation.
Say it well.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, using the impelling eye of the soul as the directing agent. Now, there are three. I want to say this: 3 possible eyes of the soul. The soul as an eye. The eye, or an eye, as Robert showed, either at some point within the head center, an eye within the head center, the ajna as the eye of the soul. So those are the 3 possibilities, and at different times it points to them. In studying the results, etc., in studying the results of meditation in the psychic realm, it should be borne in mind that the 8 means of yoga do produce definite effects in the lower nature, and this causes certain unfoldments and experiences to take place. These put the aspirant more consciously en rapport with the interior planes of the 3 worlds. This is a safe and necessary process, provided it is the outcome of the awakening of the man on his own plane and the turning of the eye of the soul via the mind and the 3rd eye upon these planes. So the eye of the soul is higher. Let's just say it looks as if the eye of the soul is higher than the mind and the 3rd eye. I have all the different.
Concrete mind?
The eye of the soul is higher than the. Says the mind. No, I think this is the concrete mind.
Yeah.
Concrete. Because the eye of the soul, if located on the soul plane, would be in the higher mind itself.
Right.
It says the turning of the eye of the soul via the mind and the 3rd eye. So in a way, we have kind of a soul, mind, brain situation here. In other words, sometimes it seems the eye of the soul is definitely within the causal apparatus, but he gives it a definite location as well within the physical head center. So we'll have to,
What's the location?
he doesn't say. He just says there it is. We'll come to that point. Yes. Yeah. Although, like I say, this particular center here, not this but this, could be a good candidate for it. Well,
where is there mention of this?
It's not mentioned.
Well, how do you know it?
Because DK's final disciple that I knew, and when Keith and I were talking to her, Walters, and she went like this.
Oh, yeah.
Not like this, but. And then she did that several times. Yeah, she didn't go like this.
But she knew she was pointing.
Yeah, she knew exactly where she was pointing. When talking about receptivity and contacting the ashram and doing all of that. Yeah, so I have a feeling, and this is sometimes considered an antenna. And who knows if it's involved with the thread itself. Shale on the thread. That kind of thing.
Hindu tradition.
Probably, yes, it is. There's something there. We have to see how high it goes, but I showed you those Hindu chakras before, and there's certain chakras that seem to ascend, and there'd be one there. So, the unicorn horn is possibly there. Okay, anyway, we're probably dealing with secrets we shouldn't be discussing. All right. The turning of the eye of the soul via the mind of the 3rd eye upon these planes. So, the presence of the lower psychic group of psychic power may, however, mean that the soul is, from the physical plane standpoint, asleep and unable to use its... most psychics wouldn't like to hear that, of the lower psychics. It may mean that the soul is asleep and unable to use its instrument, the presence of the psychic powers, and that these experiences are therefore only the result of the activity of the solar plexus producing awareness of the astral plane. This type of psychism is a reversion to the animal state and to the child stage of the human race. It is undesirable and dangerous. Of course, this is AAB writing.
But asleep is not really the state of the soul, but asleep in terms of connecting with the lower instrument. Right. I mean, the soul never asleep.
No. The all-seeing, all-watching.
Right.
Excuse me, lower psychic power. That if someone is reading the Akashic records.
Well, on what level, we might ask?
Well, telling you about your romance life, you know.
Yeah, I would say that maybe
that's not
tends to be.
That's the lower. And that means that psychic, in fact, soul infused.
May not be at all.
Not at all.
Now I'm remembering when Leadbeater and Besant, but mostly Leadbeater, wrote about the last 50 lives of Krishnamurti in the lives of Alcyone, right? And basically, what he wrote was all about the personality life of this individual. It was not about the soul life, and DK pointed that out. But Krishnamurti, as DK said, no one can doubt, and I'm not Leadbeater, no one can doubt his attainment. No one can question that. He seemed to be a third-degree initiate, seemed to be. But he was very, very psychically sensitive. He had a lot of the sign. He was a Cancerian. And matter of fact, let's see if I have Leadbeater's chart, just as an interesting diversion. I'm not sure I do have it, but unfortunately my computer has decided to, act peculiarly.
DK did say of his attainment there can be no doubt.
That's it. Okay, that's the exact quote. Okay.
What was that? What was the same?
Of his attainment there can be no doubt.
Of his attainment there can be no doubt. Nevertheless, well, none of us is perfect. I have a feeling that
the statement was about Leadbeater or Krishnamurti?
No, that was about Leadbeater.
Okay.
He had to beat, his name means Saturn Vulcan, doesn't it?
Yeah. Is this where...
see what I mean? Saturn Vulcan.
Is this the statement about one of the books or something is sort of discounted and then he comes back with that? Or?
Talking about Masters on the Path. If you look at the copyright, you'll see that my book preceded.
Right, and then he makes that statement right.
Here's the Astro Data Bank. And let's see if Charles Leadbeater, I wonder if I can make this any bigger. Ma, do you think I can? I just did. Bishop Leadbeater has the... No, something's wrong. This is... Aha, he's an Aquarius. Where is that sign Cancer? Did he die in Cancer? Oh gosh, look at all those Pisces planets. Is that so? Mercury in Pisces, Neptune and Venus all together with late Aquarius, Moon in Libra, Mars in Virgo, and Uranus. What is Uranus doing? Should be doing something. He apparently has Gemini rising. So who's communicating with him? This is not the horoscope I remember at all. Maybe it is so.
Astro.com, you're on a commercial website of exoteric astrology. What is it?
Astrodienst. Yeah. www.astro. Is that so?
Legal?
Let me try. Oh yeah, it's legal.
Wouldn't Philip or someone have this? Or?
Yeah, but it's okay. I'm just trying to let's see, Charles Leadbeater. I'm just going to try this again. And see if I can get a different horoscope that I'm more familiar with.
They say last night the guy who tells them the wrong answer, but what they want to hear is the one that gets advanced.
Yeah. Home Charles Leadbeater, all rights reserved.
Why don't you put a horoscope there?
Well, that'll help, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Astro Data Bank, Krishnamurti, Jaddu, Amazon, Casting the Horoscope, Alan Leo. Amazon, Casting the Horoscope, that's Alan Leo. Astro, I think it may be the only one we get. Is that possible? That's Jiddu Krishnamurti. The legend states that Charles Leadbeater was at the seaside. Okay, I remember. Okay.
Yeah, it's just filling in keywords.
There's Alan Leo there.
Well, Alan Leo is good too, yes. Yeah, but I think we're just going to have to go with that. But I'll tell you what, let's look up at the Wikipedia, and at least we'll get his date of birth. And if his date of birth is as they say, then that's that. And that's the right chart. Home Charles, now where's the Wikipedia? Here we go. Theosophical author?
We have a big distraction.
Not really. This is an important distraction. Okay, does it say when he was born? Or did it say up there? Charles Leadbeater, and does it not?
This is Charlie Leadbeater.
Oh, wrong guy. Wrong guy.
C.W. Leadbeater birthday.
Is it Leadbeater or Ledbetter?
It is that. It is the same. Charles Webster Leadbeater. Here it is. Look at those eyes. Wait a second. What is this? Okay. He died. He died in Perth. Well, he's definitely an Aquarian. Definitely an Aquarian. With a lot of planets in Pisces. Okay. No question about it. We've confirmed that. My memory does not serve me. Okay. Fine. Well, Mercury, Venus, and Neptune all in Pisces. Very high in the chart. And Gemini is interesting too, isn't it? Because the whole idea of communication between higher and lower, and the link with Master Decay via Gemini. Yeah. Okay. All right. Very good. So back to the eyes. Okay. Revelation. Revelation is a generic term covering the response to the activities of the eye of the mind, the eye of the soul, and the insight of the universal mind, which contact with the monad brings. In this particular case, because of this sequence, square, the eye of the soul seems high. The eye of the mind, the eye of the soul, the universal mind. It seems to be rising. So in this particular case, the eye of the soul does not seem to be located. This would be more of its reflection.
Where on the chart is the universal mind located?
In my opinion,
I've never been able to establish that.
In my opinion, the universal mind is minimally the atmic plane.
So it's not like
higher, yes.
Mental.
Yes, of course. But what does it?
It's not like just a particular place that just belongs.
No, I think the real universal mind is the cosmic mental plane. Why do I say that? Because of the term universal. What does the term universal mean? See, it doesn't mean
solar, or is that galactic, or
it's just solar. Just solar.
All right.
But somehow the atmic plane is a reflection of that.
Okay.
So, when it says three minds unite, it means the concrete mind, the abstract mind, and the universal mind. It doesn't mean just on the mental plane, the concrete mind, son of mind, and abstract mind. It means that too, but the concrete, abstract, and universal mind are the three minds. And we mean the atmic plane as far as I can see, yes. Because the atmic plane is a mental plane, isn't it? Right. It's the top of Brahma. And the insight of the universal mind which contact with the monad brings. Sight is the greatest of all developments in this world period, in which the Logos is seeking to bring the subhuman kingdoms to the point where human vision is theirs, humanity's spiritual vision, and the hierarchy universal perception. That's good. Okay. The third or spiritual eye has several functions. Amongst others, it is the organ of illumination, the unveiled eye of the soul. Now, maybe this term is important. Maybe. See, what I want to say is that although there is some confusion of terminology, that the third eye and the eye of the soul are distinct, through which the light and illumination comes into the mind, and thus the entire lower life becomes irradiated. Okay, this is ambiguous. It is also the organ through which pours the directing energy which streams out from the conscious creating adept to the instruments of service, his thought forms. So from that point of view, it seems located high, because the adept already doesn't even need the physical apparatus. Okay.
So that unveiled eye would be higher mental, and it's kind of
the third is spiritual eye.
Mind.
Amongst other, it is the organ of illumination, the unveiled eye of the soul. The third is spiritual eye. I don't know, this is a little ambiguous to me. I'm just not sure where to put this. But you'll have the compilation.
It comes into mind. It seems like it would be above, coming downward. Right?
Yes, it does. Okay, and so we can put that in, okay? Through the light, it is the organ of illumination through which the light comes in mind. Thus, okay, seems thus.
It's almost as if the unveiling allows the light to move out of
the dense. Yeah, exactly. Agreed. The reflection is that with which we are familiar. The appearance, or that which veils the reality, is contacted and known when we see with the eye of the soul, the eye of Shiva, and the true color is contacted after the fifth kingdom has been passed through. This is something about color. Okay, well, we need the whole context. And group consciousness is merging in that of the divine, and by that we might say, whoopsie, that was close. We might say universal consciousness. Okay, sorry. Students will therefore note that the monadic cosmic wheel can be visioned in terms of true color. This is about triple color. It's very complex. We don't need this right now. Okay, the appearance, or that which veils the reality, is contacted and known. Yes, there's the true color, the appearing color, and the lowest color. Is contacted and known when we see with the eye of the soul, the eye of Shiva. Now here, he's equated these, and yet the eye of Shiva is oftentimes equated with the third eye. Yet the eye of Shiva is often equated with the third eye. The problem here with DK is he's mixing his terminology, and we're just going to have to figure this out. The brain is like the eye of the soul looking out into the physical world, in the same sense that the soul is the eye of the monad. Okay, so I have a feeling that what this means is that there are eyes on the level of the particular center and eyes which the particular center uses below. So the brain is well below the soul, and yet the soul uses it. So let's say two kinds of eyes, one on the level of the seer and the other below the level of the seer. In other words, we could say from that point of view that the monad has its own eye on its own plane and yet uses the soul. We could say that the soul has its own eye on its own plane yet uses the brain. It's like two. Here's the analogy. It's like having a subray on the plane, on its own plane, and a subray below. In other words, there's a subray of the soul on its own plane and a subray of the soul which the personality is considered to be. There's a subray of the monad on its own plane, and yet the soul is also considered a subray of the monad. Okay, wow. Here it is. This is another thing. Okay. The secret doctrine, as you know, stated in the secret doctrine, the right eye is the eye of Buddha, and the left eye is the eye of Manas, the higher mind. This, when related to Buddha, referring to the higher mind and to man as he finally will appear. Let's go down here a bit, which is like the third eye. Let's see. In between these two directing eyes is to be found the Asna center, which is like a third eye. Like a third eye, not necessarily the third eye, because remember the pineal and the ethers are radiated. This is actually where the third eye is found, in the center of the head, although it may go out the front, which is like the third eye, or directing agent for the blended and fused energies of the personality. Related to the third eye as it awakens and comes into functioning activity, is what we call the eye of the soul. This is a point within the highest head center. Point blank. Okay, point blank. So, it doesn't mean that it's only that, but it is that. Because we have to look at the thing itself and its reflection or organs or instruments in other places. So there is an eye of the soul, and it's a point within the highest head center. Therefore, it is not the area of etheric evocation surrounding and interpenetrating the pineal gland in the center of the head.
Therefore,
It is not that etheric area in the center of the head, because it's part of the highest head center. Yeah, and who knows, it could be mounting above. This eye of the soul, you see how tricky he is? He's so tricky. So that's the way obviously he's blinding this issue somewhat. Yeah. This eye of the soul can and does transmit energy to the Ajna center, which I want to say here, which is not the real third eye, and is itself the agent before the fourth initiation of the energy of the spiritual triad. Now remember those Laya Yoga centers we looked at? Okay, so I want to point to these again. All I have to do is find them, and I think you're going to see exactly what I mean as soon as I get there. Okay. All right. So I just have to, unfortunately, I have to go through the thing. I'm sorry. I should know exactly where to find it, but I don't. Oh, that's okay. Let me know when I get there. Oh, that was it. I was there. Oh, but now it won't go back. There. All right. So now it says this eye is the eye of the. Did you say spiritual triad? Yes, you did say spiritual triad. Now take a look at these different chakras. Buddhi, Manas. Here's Manas. Here's Indu Buddhi. Here's Nirvana, Dahi. So I suggest whatever this is, I'm not sure. Mahanada.
Nirvana,
Atma. And then going farther up onto the top of the head with, matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the forehead contains these. With, you see this line like that? End of the Shushumna Vajra or Yajra and Brahma Naki, we have to read the book. And then these others being found increasingly on the top of the head. I'll bet this takes us to the top of the forehead here, starting from the Ajna center. So these are spiritual triad chakras. And maybe one of them could be the third eye. See, we're going to have to piece this together, and probably something experientially will have to come in for us to confirm this. But we'll have to do some really good scholarship with this Laya Yoga book, what the Tibetan says and what others have said, to see if we can locate this. Because there's so much ambiguity. Sometimes the third eye is said to be here. Sometimes it's said to be in the center of the head, which I think is really the case. That at the third initiation, when the triangle goes between the three head centers, that there's an evocation in the center of the head. But you can also, you can see out of any chakra, and I have a feeling that the important eyes are found in the head center itself, and not in the center of the head, only. Okay. So the eye of the soul does transmit energy to the Ajna center, and is itself the agent before the third initiation of the energy of the spiritual triad. The question now, and also the Ajna center is involved. Also, the Ajna center is a center through which the spiritual triad is conducted, and Nietzsche says that. The Ajna center functions in many ways. It functions as a seat for personality expression, And it is also, I don't know if it's related specifically to the ego, but he definitely tells us it is specifically related to the spiritual triad. Because think of it this way, as the head center is the ajna center, so the monad is to the triad. That's one of the ways of thinking. Okay. This esoteric relationship is set up when the soul is dominating its instrument, the personality, and bringing all the lower activities upon the physical plane under soul direction. So this is domination, this is the third degree. Notice this word domination is a code word for the third degree. Because at that point, in music, you achieve what is called the dominant or the fifth. And domination and the dominant, in other words, there's a point at which the proportion 3/2 or 2/3 operates, and it means that the fifth has come into power. So, he tells us about the major third and the perfect fifth of the soul. Major third is the personality. So watch out for domination, because it oftentimes indicates the soul's in control and has achieved its majority, 3/5 of 5/5. That's its majority. Therefore, it can dominate. Okay, now here is the chart. In the perfected man, there is to be found, therefore, the following distributors or distributing agents of energy: the eye of the soul, the agent of the spiritual triad, will; the third eye, the agent of the soul, love. So there is a clear tabulational distinction. The right eye, the distributor of Buddhic energy; the left eye, the conveyor of pure monastic energy, and by this is probably meant higher mind, on the first subplane. The ajna center, focusing and directing point for all these energies. The eye of the soul is distinct from the ajna center. The third eye is distinct from the ajna center. The eye of the soul is distinct from the third eye. This little tabulation here, although there's a lot of ambiguity in all the rest of the statements, is a good one, I think, to have in mind. And then, of course, we have to experiment within ourselves, don't we? I have a feeling that we enter the spiritual triad proper at the third initiation. And I think that's when the unicorn horn really has a practical significance. And I think that that's more than the ajna center. Now, obviously, these are the very things which the teachers don't give us full, explicit information upon. We have to find out certain things ourselves, or via the oral tradition, this has to be communicated to us when it's of value. The rest is speculation, possibility, but we don't know for sure. Okay, well, that may be... okay. The third eye referred to as that of the healer and not that of the average patient. The healer uses in conjunction with the eye of the soul, so definitely distinct. Sorry. I'm a little off. Okay. In this case, the healing of a very advanced person who is consciously able to cooperate, the third eye of the patient can also be active. We can't obviously do all of this, but I just wanted to give you enough to get these basic positions and distinctions. And now I have the compilation on the third eye. I have the eye of the soul, the third eye, the eye of Shiva, the blue eye, and so forth. These are all in here. There's 34 pages of it. So we can't do all of that. We could spend the whole afternoon on it, but I think it will not serve us right now. I'll check this over a little later. Here's the spiritual eye. Spiritual eye opens, and the spiritual or third eye directs the healing energy, and all is well. So this is the fifth law of the soul, I think.
There's that term again, all is well or well-being.
Yes. The spiritual or third eye. So, yes, exactly. and the eye of the soul, because we're told that the soul is controlling the healing process. And when there's the proper flow of soul energy, all is well. And there's unimpeded flow. To the inner spiritual eye, the gods are no more abstractions than our soul and body are to us. Secret doctrine. The third eye and spiritual eye are frequently equated. Okay? Okay? Amongst others, it is the organ of illumination, the unveiled eye of the soul, through which light and illumination comes into the mind, and thus the entire life becomes irradiated. The unveiled, we looked at this before. Let's see if there's anything else here. Third eye, spiritual eye. Well, and here's the eye of Shiva. The eye of Shiva will be left, and with that the seer will identify himself. And this is actually not from the law of synthesis, this is from the light of the soul.
I was going to say, what is that?
But when I write LOS, I get light of synthesis, or whatever, law of synthesis. What do we have here? Will include not only physical vision, but the development of the third eye, clairvoyance, perfect spiritual vision, and on up into that inconceivable mystery conveyed by the term the all-seeing eye. Again, the eye of Shiva, more is meant here. By the eye of Shiva, more is meant than the third eye.
We have so much of that first aspect, the first ray energy, you suspect is higher up the chart.
Yeah, well, it's like the jewel in the lotus. I've tracked the jewel in the lotus to the monadic plane. The real jewel is in the crown, on the monadic level. And the other jewel is more a reflection of that, our popular jewel in the lotus. Okay. The eye of Shiva, apparently this third eye is one of... Well, this will require close study, and I will give this to you. Now here is an enigmatical thought. The eye of Shiva in the human being has its position, as is already known, in the center of the forehead between the two physical eyes. That's both true and not true. See, because in a way, whatever happens in the middle of the head goes out through the center of the forehead, but the Ajna center has its place between the two physical eyes, and the Ajna center is not the eye of Shiva.
He uses a lot of these terms interchangeably.
He really does, unless he really means really between, and not slightly above. See, obviously, these anatomical locations are very important for the practitioner, which he doesn't want us to become prematurely. Okay. Okay, let's see. It is not to be... Okay, here's the eye of, or whatever. It is not to be confounded with the pineal gland, which is distinctly a physical center. The third eye exists in etheric matter and is an etheric center of force, being made of the substance of the ethers, whereas the pineal gland is formed of matter in the three lower subplanes. The latter, nevertheless, has to be functioning more or less before the eye of Shiva becomes active to any significant degree. So here, this is in the area of the pineal gland, and elsewhere he actually says so.
Didn't we do that section yesterday, 2009?
We might have. But it's a long time ago. Okay, look at this. Yes, I'm sorry?
There's a phrase that I caught in one of the paragraphs that knowledge of the eye of Shiva, which is the most potent transmitter of energy, gave rise to the notion of the evil eye.
Okay. Right. But that's, of course, a misinterpretation, isn't it? It's a blue eye, and therefore... and was it Shiva who swallowed the poison of the world? Who swallowed that and got the blue throat as a result?
Shiva is blue.
Shiva is often blue, but there's one of these gods who voluntarily consumed the poison of the world and then developed the blue throat as a result.
One of the sense that everything eventually comes back to Shiva, which is sort of the black hole, Brahma being the white hole that everything pours out from.
Okay, I think that's good. Okay.
He would probably consume everything at some point.
3 times the eye of Shiva closes and 3 times it opens. This is from the stanzas.
What was the blue logos reference up there about that?
Was it blue logos?
Yeah, up a little more.
Or was it the blue?
Yeah, it's there, right there.
Yeah, the eye of Shiva when perfect is blue in color as our solar logos is the blue logo, so do his children occultly resemble him. But this color must be interpreted esoterically, so possibly complements are involved.
Is that in any way connected to the Blue Lodge of Sirius?
Yes. Yes. Here it is. This is an important one. I only have it, it's only font 20 now, so I feel obliged to make it font 22. The third eye, not the pineal gland, but its etheric correspondence. That's another definite statement. This is the responsive mechanism to the directing eye of the soul. Yeah, right, exactly. These are now in order. Okay. You know, sometimes he says something definite and then sort of confuses it over with a lot of lines.
Well, also in the section we read, I think one of my illustrations, he talks about the Sahasrara and the pineal gland's interaction is what brings the eye of Shiva into being.
The Sahasrara brings it, yes. Yes, he's going to, he pretty well tells us that for the average individual, there's a penetration of the soul to the top of the head. For the aspirant, there's a penetration of the soul to the pituitary body, and for the true disciple and initiate, the penetration of the soul down into the ethers surrounding the pineal gland, and then the third eye can be developed. But at first, let's just say the soul sinks deeper into the form.
Yeah, it does say it goes no farther than the third eye.
Does he say that? Yeah, also.
That's one of my illustrations too, because I don't remember that passage.
And there's also a sense that after the top of the head awakens in the center, that it's all controlled from the serpent coming out of the brow. That is the director. So, in the same way that he didn't want to say too much about the head center to Roberto Assagioli when he asked, he's leaving us in a slightly ambiguous condition with respect to the third eye. Well, I'll give you this compilation, and the ego, the higher self, is literally to the monad what the third eye is to man. And that's one of the ones we're supposed to ponder. Yes.
This is from 1009 Cosmic Fire.
Yes.
When man is more highly evolved and is nearing or treading the path, the indwelling self takes a more complete grasp of its lower vehicle and descends to a point in the head or brain, which is found approximately in the center of the forehead. This is its lowest contact.
Well, I don't know if the center of the forehead is lower than the location of the pineal gland. It also talks about descending into the pineal gland. This third eye is also called the eye of the Cyclops. And here is soul and its mechanism. Okay. Well, okay. The organ of spiritual perception, the third eye. Yeah, there's a lot about the third eye. The third eye is the most frequently mentioned. It's involved with thought control, with directing energy, with visualization, and seeing into the world of the soul. The third eye is formed by 3 factors. The ego on its own plane. Okay, well this is an important one, but I'll tell you what, I don't want to get too heavy with us right now. I just think we got to get back to white magic. Yeah, we could. The number of pages is increasing as my font size grows.
Cult ophthalmology.
Well, I think there's a lot to it. Here is the eye in the head of the bull, the third eye. The mineral kingdom is governed astrologically by Taurus, i.e. through Vulcan, and there is a symbolic relation between the eye in the head of the bull, the third eye in this case, the light in the head, and the diamond. Whew! The diamond, of course, is the head of the mineral kingdom, but from another point of view, it's the jewel in the lotus. So we're going to have to connect Vulcan, the fourth initiation, the jewel in the lotus, the mineral kingdom, the diamond, the third eye, and the light in the head.
Read the last sentence.
The consciousness of the Buddha has been called the diamond eye. Well, my God, that goes all the way to the Atmic flame, which can also be connected with Vulcan.
Is there any information on the eye of God in this calculation?
The eye of God?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But, there'd be one way to find out.
I think at the very top, the title named the various ones. I think there were 4.
Of the all-seeing eye of God, Yep, the eye of God himself. I guess there are a couple. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. As you can see, there is ambiguity, but there are a couple of very clear tabulations which name locations, make distinctions, and give us a good idea of how we can work with these locations. All right. Let's see how long we've been at it. Oh my God.
How much it has to do with the limit not only of language, but also the English language. Because Sanskrit is so much better suited for, it's like, 23 different words for mind and things like that.
Really?
Yeah.
23 different words for mind.
Something. It's
Whoa. That sounds good. All right, now don't go away. Don't go away yet. I know we have to take a slight break. We do need a break. We've only been here together in Meditation Deep for 1 hour and 48 minutes. Although time certainly flies when you're talking. Okay, go ahead then. Take a break. See if I care. Be that way.